It's just me. It's just me. Welcome in, everybody, on this fine Saturday afternoon. The city is Philadelphia. The Commonwealth is Pennsylvania. This is the Press Row Show, the #1 rated pregame, intermission, postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the circle, north of the equator, west of, and I'll just read every European and Asian country that there is, just to kill the time. Russ is not here. Oh, hi, Mom. How we doing? How we doing? Is everyone feeling okay? No, not me. Russ is home. The reason that on the record was because it's his son, I think, Arlo's birthday. So happy birthday to Arlo. Off the record, the Royal Rumble is today. Coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. And Ant is in traffic. Bundy was the only one who was here on time doing his job. He's doing pregame radio. Professional. The other two, not professional. I'm here. I have to get in the dunk tank tomorrow. And apparently I have to do this entire show by myself. Okay? So there's that. Ant, I don't know. Oh, by the way, Ant calls me and says, hey, I'm going to be late. Can you send me the link so I can join the StreamYard from the car? I said, sure. DM him the Twitter link. Does he answer? No. That's fine. Am I mad? Yes. Am I professional? Yes. Is it going to bother me? No. I'll get over it. I don't know, Ant. It's the 6th largest city in the country. There's traffic here sometimes, guy. But he texted me. He's in the parking lot. He should be up in just a second. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? We could talk about the Flyers and Kings. I believe Andre Kopitar is back in the lineup today for L.A. He had missed some time. He comes in today, by the way. Keep an eye on this. 1,299 career points for Kopitar, so 1 point away from him for 1,300. I don't want to talk about Penn State versus Michigan State yesterday. I don't want to talk about Porter Martone scoring a goal against Penn State. I don't want to talk about the fact that I wanted to go over to Press Row to find like Bill Meltzer or Jackie Spiegel, etc., and they weren't here because they're at the Penn State game. They're where I should be. I'm where they should be. They're where I should be. Does that make me mad? Yes. Hi, Andrew. Hold on. Hi, Andrew, and Penn State versus Michigan State at 1 p.m. I know. I have it on the iPad here, Joe. I have it on. They need to win. The women played outside yesterday. They won. They beat Robert Morris, at least. Andrew turning Russ, the bitterness is starting to come out. I'm trying to kill the time here, Fawcett. I'm trying to kill the time. Hey, do some trivia. Did you prepare that? I did, yeah. Who am I going to ask it to? I guess I'll have to ask it to you guys. No, I'm just trying to pass in time here. No. I tried. I loved Game of Thrones. I tried to watch The House of the Dragon. I just thought it stunk. So I don't really do any of the spinoffs anymore. But yeah. Look, it's been bad. It's been really bad. The Flyers, after having the horrible stretch of all horrible stretches when they had the back-to-back against Tampa, then they got killed by the Rangers. I thought that they really were going to turn it around on the road. After they beat Vegas, they had, the 1 point against Utah. Probably should have been both points. Had Garnet Hathaway just shot it into an empty net. And then Owen Tippett has the hat trick against Colorado. Oh, they get 5 out of 6 points on the road. That's great. And then they come home and it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back with them. Vladar has not been good since coming back, not particularly at least. I meant to look up his numbers, but I forgot because I was shutting up the entire show by myself. That's fine. Look, after coming home and getting blanked by the Islanders, they go on the road and they have to play two really good teams right now. Columbus and Boston have both been very, very good of late. At least they were competitive against the Blue Jackets. The Konechny hat trick tied the game back up. We'll talk about that during Stat of the Night. The hat tricks in the NHL lately have been insane. Boston, they weren't even competitive. And that's an issue. And now they're playing a Kings team who, while I think like I said, the Kopitar's back for LA. The Kings haven't been particularly great of late, but I don't know that matters. I think Vladar's back in net. He needs a good comeback game today. And the situation here is they are to a point where, like, it's gotten away from them so quickly. So quickly it's gotten away from them. They're, I think, 8 points behind the Islanders. They're 10 points out of a wild card because of how well Columbus, Buffalo, Detroit, and Boston have all been playing. I can't believe that we're back here. I listened to a little bit of Russ's show yesterday. I actually do listen to it. It's unbelievable. I do listen. I listened to a little bit of Russ's show, and he's right. I think Russ overreacts a lot, but on this particular instance, I think he's right. Like, we're doing it again. We're here again. that they're just stuck right in the middle. And I don't want to have to, do this whole tankathon thing again, because I really thought that this was going to be the year that they finally get into the playoffs. And it's just been awful. Anyone that watched that Boston game I don't know how anyone still has any hope. I'm trying to stay rational about this. I'm trying to stay reasonable. They're really, really testing my patience, though. So we'll have to see how they do this with the Kings in town today. The only thing that would make me happy, ironically, is if they just go full tank and then end up with my guy, Gavin McKenna. I don't think that's going to happen. If Gavin McKenna, as cool as that would be, if Gavin McKenna was on the Flyers, that means something has gone horribly wrong this season. Horribly, horribly wrong. And I don't want that to happen. I really don't. Look, there's still time. Maybe the Olympic break, for whatever reason, is the break that they need, and they are able to turn this thing around. But it's not good. Let me go out to the comments here, because now I'm starting to run out of gas already. I do a lot better usually when there's someone to talk to, but as you can see. And 1 minute ago, waiting for the elevator. I don't know. There's stairs. That's fine. That's you know what? Take your time, man. Take your time. Take your time. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. I'm not even mad. Amy said, "Go read Martinez's tweet." Did Jason tweet something? Hold on. Oh, that's a lot of words. I'm not reading that whole thing. Should I? All right, fine. You know what? I'll read Martinez's tweet. I have nothing else to do. There's nobody here. So Jason yesterday tweeted, "I have been hesitant to weigh in on this topic, but I do have some thoughts on the beef of Flyers Twitter versus Flyers reporters." By the way, check out Anthony's Twitter from yesterday. That guy Derek Dunn and he were having a battle. A battle, I say. That was one nut job arguing with another, but that's fine. On the beef of Flyers Twitter versus Flyers reporters, one of the elements of sports fandom is the debate between people, which initially was at the water cooler at work or the bar with friends. Agreed. When sports fan debate moved to the radio in the mid-1980s, that was a big step. Fast forward to our world now, where the debate has become even less face-to-face, but avatar to avatar. That's also true, Jason. It is easier to be very nasty, often personal, in the debate, and all parties are guilty, myself included. Now, I have never been a reporter yet to some degree, quote-unquote media. The temperature has gotten very hot between the two sides. I actually don't think people disagree as much as it portrayed or it seems. I don't know if I agree with that. As with our society today, we have extremes on both sides of this. It has become here he is. A pissing contest of who knows more about hockey or who knows how to rebuild the team best. Hold on. I'll turn your...
Oh, hi.
Hey, I'm reading Jason Martinez's tweet because you weren't here on time. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Or who knows how to rebuild the team best. I believe one of the fundamental rights of any fan who invests their time, money, and emotion into team fandom has the right to say or conduct themselves as they please. To each his own. I tend not to get involved even when I see something that goes beyond opinion and is just factually wrong, although I do jump into the chaos on the rare occasion. I would jump in more if things weren't so confrontational and were more chill. Maybe that is my old age or my lack of energy, but it has become so off-putting that as soon as I open Twitter, oftentimes I just close it to avoid the temptation of being pulled into such negative space full of personal attacks and people diminishing others' opinions. I have no idea what my point is with this tweet, but I figured I would send it anyway. I hope everyone has a great weekend, has health and happiness flooding their lives, and I know we all do want the Flyers to return to being perennial cup contenders. Cheers.
You know who I don't hope has a good weekend?
Is it Derek Dunn?
No, I'm not going there.
Seems pretty appropriate, though.
Well, no.
Given what happened yesterday. How are we doing, by the way?
It's the people who
Thanks for joining us.
It's the people who like the mummers.
Okay, oh yeah. So let's blame it on
I completely forgot. I shouldn't say I had no idea because I do remember them saying it. But I had no idea that traffic was going to be what it was coming down here today in this area. I was fine getting to South Philly, but in and around because of the mummers string band, something happening at the link today. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's other people's fault, not yours.
Never my fault. Come on now. You should know this by now, Andrew.
No, definitely not.
So I apologize for being 10 minutes late today.
Did you not see the Twitter DM?
The Twitter DM.
I sent you the link to the StreamYard.
No, I did not.
Oh.
I was running in from the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
So
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
Yeah. So I apologize to everyone for being late.
I did 10 minutes by myself. I'm going to add that to my sizzle reel. Show that to Portnoy.
There you go. Sizzle reel.
What do we? So what do you have?
So what
on
did
the,
you do?
the
What did you
docket?
do for 10 minutes?
I just talked about the general state of the team as I saw it. I thought it was pretty alarming how bad they looked against the Bruins.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't believe that it feels like we're in the exact same spot that we were last year now. After as promising a start as it was, we're now back to the point where, I'm not 100% there, but I'm, on my way to doing the tankathon thing again.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of Gavin McKenna being here.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to tank that hard. Let's be honest.
But they may not have. They may just be that bad. They keep losing.
Yeah, I know.
And I also mentioned that Kopitar's back for the Kings today. I think that's pretty significant for them.
Yeah.
But the Kings haven't been particularly great. But again, neither have the Flyers. And
No.
I also mentioned Vladar back in net. He started 2 games since being back from injury?
One and
just the one.
One and a fill-in the last
Right.
game in the third period, which he didn't allow a goal. I'm with you. I hear you, and I wrote all about this, and I think that the big flaw for them was coming into the season with 2 problems, right? And we all know, we can sit here and we can argue and debate, how are they going to get the number 1 C and number 1 D? That's not what this conversation's about. Because you can take steps forward and become a playoff team without those. Ultimately, you're going to need those to win a championship, but you can progress as a team without those. The 2 flaws that they had in this coming into this season, and I wrote about this on Patterson, was they did not properly have depth in case of injuries, right? So the Tyson Forster injury ends up killing this team.
Yes.
When you look at their numbers pre-injury and post-injury, it's not just one guy. One guy doesn't make that much of a difference, but it affects the lineup, and you're putting guys in roles that they're just not accustomed to, and they're not. Frankly, they did not step up and perform in, and so that becomes an issue with the players that you have. So that's number 1. And then number 2, you came into a season with a backup goalie who is just awful. And it's for people who want to say I'm just picking on Sam Ersson, if he was, and this is the math that I did, if he was just league average in save percentage, so he's 60 of goalies who've played at least, I think it was 11 games, he's 67th out of 67.
Right.
Okay, with his save percentage. If he was just league average, right? So the 33rd, 34th guy, his save percentage would have been .899. You know how many more saves he would have had to make to get there? That goals that he let in that would have had to been saves.
Math was never my strong side, so just tell me.
24. Okay.
So he let in 24 goals.
More than the league average.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Based off of the number of shots that he's faced. Okay. So it's 24 goals. So if he was just league average, by my calculations, conservatively, based on the games that he started and the games that were that close, the Flyers conservatively would have had 7 more points, maybe even more, because of flow. You never know, flow of game, things like that. But conservatively, he cost them 7 points.
So that puts them at 64.
Yeah. So you're now, instead of being 8 points out of a playoff spot, you're 1 point out of a playoff spot. That's just one player making one. It's one save a game. It's 24 goals. He's started 24 games.
Yes.
Right. So it's funny how that all works out, and we talk about it all the time, right? He lets in that 1 goal each game that you think, oh man, wish he would have stopped that. It was 2 against the Bruins, right? There was 2 goals in that game against the Bruins where the shooter's right in front of him, the shot goes right through him. There's no screen, right? I mean, it's a save that a goalie has to make, and he doesn't. So you look at those situations. I'm not trying to absolve anyone else, because there's other problems certainly with this team. It's not just the fact that they didn't have depth to replace Forster and just Sam Ersson. There are countless other things that you can point to. But if you look at just those 2 things alone, they're right where they wanted to be this season at this point.
Well, okay, but not entirely, because even if everything you said was true, you said they would still be 1 point out of a playoff spot.
I said conservatively. So,
Okay.
So basically what I did in order to come up with those 7 points was I looked at every game that Erson started, and I said, let's take one goal, right, and give it back to Erson as a save from every game that he started. And I came up with them being able to accrue 7 more points.
Okay.
Now, again, like I said, you could argue that even in a game that they lose by 2 or 3, that one of those goals could be like a momentum changer, right? Or
Also
empty net goals wouldn't count because if he makes that save, then you don't get an empty net opportunity. It's a tie game, and maybe you get to overtime, and maybe you get another point or 2 points or whatever the case might be. I'm just saying, based off of the games he started, conservatively, I can get to 7.
Yeah. All right. Well, it may just be a scenario where he's just not capable of doing it. Maybe this is just as good as he is. And if that's the case, where every time your backup goalie trots out there and is playing the way that he does, well, for this team to make the playoffs, then you now require Dan Vladar to be Martin Brodeur. And I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, correct.
That's why
it's too much pressure on Vladar.
This is why I'm starting to.
Yeah, it's too much pressure on Vladar, and it's not fair to him to say go out there and steal every game for us. Right there are other concerns on this team. I mean, obviously the power play is the biggest freaking problem that they can't ever seem to resolve. No matter who's coaching it or what year it is, it doesn't matter. They're the worst power play in the NHL. That's completely unacceptable. The penalty kill has fallen off of a cliff. It really has. I mean, it was good early in the season.
Top 10 early this season.
And then it stinks now.
Yeah.
Like it stinks. It flat out stinks.
What do you attribute that to?
Again, I think that, well, first of all, there's a lack of defensive structure. I don't know what happened to the defensive structure of this team, but it has completely dissipated. Both 5-on-5 and on penalty kill. I don't know. I don't know if it's they feel like they have to extend themselves to try and make a play because they're lacking confidence in what's behind them. They feel like they're in such a rut that they need to do something themselves to get out of it. And it creates an opportunity for the other team because now you're slightly out of position. It's the 5-on-5. It's the backdoor plays, right? How many backdoor goals or backdoor chances even are they giving up? The game against Columbus, that they come back and they tie the game 3-3 and then they lose on a backdoor goal. But even before that, the 2 great saves that Vladar has, if you remember the 2 glove saves, the one on Fantilli and the other one was on Jenner, I believe, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew Fawcett.
Yeah. I mean, those backdoor plays, like if he doesn't make those saves, it's 5-1. You're not even getting back into that game.
Right. Yeah.
And those are both backdoor plays. Them leaving guys open on the far side. And don't think that opposing teams are seeing this and aren't saying that's what we got to do. That's what we got to attack. That's how we got to beat this defense. We got to get them out of position. They tend to get scrambly in their own end for whatever reason. And they've completely lost the plot structurally. Whereas early in the season, if you remember, right? Yes, there was a lot of games that they were coming from behind in. Yes, there was a lot of games that they were getting a loser point in. And that certainly is not a sustainable formula over the course of a full season. There's always going to be regression to the mean, right? But at the very least, in those games, they were limiting chances. They were taking away the middle of the ice, right? They were not giving up what they're giving up now.
Yeah. I remember whatever game I can't remember, but we had Jackie here and she was talking about the defensive structure, and I looked it up because I wanted to lend credence to what she was saying. And the Flyers at one point were remember they were 3rd in the league in shots allowed per game?
Yes.
I haven't looked recently. I don't even know what it is now, but I'm going to say it's probably significantly lower in terms of shots allowed per game. And when you have a Sam Ersson in the crease,
right,
that's a lot of goals allowed per game.
Yeah, it certainly is. And so I mean, there are other things. I don't want to make anyone think that I'm trying to say, well, this is it. This is the only reason that they've struggled. I'm trying to make an excuse. It's not. There's other problems. There's been inconsistency up front. Look, I for all the complaining that people do about Travis Konechny,
I was going to talk about him next.
How can you complain about the way he's playing?
Well, I actually quite the opposite. I'm going to praise the way he's playing
Yes.
right now, which is why I want to bring this up.
Go ahead. I don't have my computer up, so I got to look on your screen.
Landros, a couple other people as well, but Landros said I'd trade Konechny for sure. Now seems like as good a time as any. Unfortunately,
the only problem is that guys with that term on their contract don't get moved at the deadline. Like,
how many years does he have left?
I think he's got 4 years left. I want to say.
Is that?
I want to say.
Well, he's my age, isn't he? Like 30 or 31.
Yeah.
So a team that's a Stanley Cup contender wouldn't take a 4-year contract and have Travis Konechny until he's 34.
It just doesn't.
I think he's making $875, right?
It just doesn't happen. It's harder to trade salary in season because you got to make it work cap wise right away, right? So and then you got to think, how is that going to fit into our cap going forward with the players that we have on our roster?
Okay.
Right. So it's easier to do it in the offseason when you have some more flexibility to move people around. You're allowed to exceed the cap by a certain percentage, but all those things you have time to make the changes on the fly in season. It's really, really hard to do. And that's why it doesn't usually happen that a guy with a lot of term gets moved at the deadline. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that it's unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, if you ask me who the most likely players to move, and I'm not even thinking that I think it's going to be a pretty quiet deadline. I will be a little bit surprised if it isn't. But I'd say the most likely players to move at the deadline could be like a Risto.
He's been on the block like since I started this. 3 years.
Yeah, no, I mean, but even that, and I don't even, when I say it's most likely, I'm not even saying that's like a 80% chance. Like I think it's probably still less than 50-50 in all honesty, and it's mostly because he can't stay healthy.
The other guy that came to mind right away was Tippett.
Again, contract is the thing.
Oh, that's
right. All right. So do I think that they would listen to a Tippett? I do, but I don't know how that plays. I just don't know how.
His 8-year extension was 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I mean that's the thing, and you got to be careful with moving Tippett. He might not be a great fit here, but he has something that you don't have on this team, and that's a combination of size and speed. I mean, you don't
can be a sniper,
right? You don't have that.
No assist though,
right? You don't have that guy, and he's frustrating, and I get it, but you got to be very careful removing that from your team and saying, okay, now how do we replace that? Martone's got some size, but he doesn't skate like that, right? So I mean, that's you can easily say, well, your Martone's going to be the guy that plugs in on that spot in the lineup. Yeah, but he doesn't do what Tippett does, right? So that's the one thing you just got to be careful with the skill set that he has. I'm not saying that they wouldn't trade him. I just think that it has to be the right move. And again, I think it's one that's more of an off-season kind of thing than now.
When Russ had me and Amadeo on his show back in October, I think it was right before the season started, and Russ brought the idea of trading Tippett up to both of us, and I was hesitant because I was worried that they were pulling the plug on him a little bit too early. And I said that he was a guy, even though he hasn't done it yet in his career, that can score 30 or maybe 35 goals in a year. So my worst fear is, thinking, oh, it's over, they need to start over again, and then trading away somebody who ends up blossoming into a legit superstar that you had here and you let him go. Now I'm kind of running out of patience with him though a little bit, in that he's just too streaky for me, and I don't know. Same with Konechny, where it's at a point now where I'm worried that they're going to be hanging on to these guys for too long, and then we're just going to do this cycle over and over and over and over again, when they could have just kick-started this full-on rebuild sooner, which I think is what Russ wanted to do. I think he wanted Konechny gone 2 years ago.
Yeah, Russ wants to trade everybody all the time. Russ wants to be perpetually bad.
But he might be right.
No, I disagree. I disagree. Because there is a time to trade. But Russ wanted to trade Scott Lawton 4 seasons in a row, and then they traded him, and they got a lot for him. Right? So it's not like they did not get the value for Scott Lawton. They got the value for Scott Lawton. Right? So this is my point. There is a time when you sit there and go, okay, yeah, you can move on from that guy. That guy's not going to be part of what we're doing. But until you get to that point, you don't just abandon it. You don't just sit there and go, yeah, get rid of that guy. We got to go backwards. Because if you trade Travis Konechny, you're going backwards again. You're not going forward. You're going backwards.
Right, but the thing is, if they don't improve this, then they're not going backwards, but they're just walking on a treadmill.
Not necessarily.
They're not going anywhere.
Not necessarily.
But they,
not necessarily.
See, this is where you had me at the beginning of the season, but as the time progresses here, I'm leaning more and more towards the dark side. And by the dark side, I mean with Russ. Like, I just think they're cooked. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I want to believe that they will come out of the Olympic break red hot, balls to the wall, and they'll make a playoff run. But here's the other thing that we haven't mentioned yet. We talked about early in the season that the Flyers need to take advantage of all of these home games that they have because the second half of the season, they're going to be on the road a lot.
Yeah.
And the Flyers, for the most part, played pretty well the first half of the season. But coming out of the Olympic break, they're going to be on the road a lot. And it's hard to win at all in this league, but winning on the road is even harder. That's where I think they're in trouble.
Here's what I'll say to you. I'm not trying to sit here and justify keeping this together because I think that they're going to recover and make the playoffs. It's not what I'm saying at all. It's not. I think it's going to be really hard for them to come back and make the playoffs at this point.
That's my point.
Very, very hard to come back and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so you finish where you finish. But my point is you can't go backwards going forward. You know what I'm saying? No. All right, you look at that, say, we made some mistakes. This did not go as we wanted this season. But you can't just sit there and go, because we had a hiccup in the process that we're trying to follow here, we blow it up again and start over again just because you had that one season that did not go your way.
But it hasn't been one season that didn't go our way.
I know it has. It's been 15, okay? But for this group, keep in mind, and this is where, and I say this for any sport and literally any manager, any general manager, any president of whatever, you have to think of each one as a reset. You can't sit there and say, well, the organization has sucked for so long, they need to fix it post haste. Okay, you have to acknowledge that they inherited a mess, right? They really, really inherited a mess.
Fair enough.
Okay, so you have to give them enough of a runway to clear that mess and figure it out and fix it. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I would say that we are at the end of that runway. Okay, I think going forward, and I wrote this going forward. Like, the pressure is now on. You cannot come back another year next year and have next year be like this year and be like last year. You cannot. Okay. The hope was you took a small step forward this year. They weren't trying to be a Stanley Cup contender this year. They just wanted to get into the postseason. Right. Okay. That was what they wanted to do, and they're going to probably miss that goal.
Okay,
now.
That's right.
Okay, but that's just because you miss one goal in your third year of cleaning up a mess does not mean that you then blow it all back up again and start over. You become the Buffalo Sabres if you do that, because that's what they do every time that they screw up.
Fair enough.
Right?
I'm trying my best here because I'm not fully you, but I'm also not fully Russ. I'm trying to be like in the middle.
I'm being pragmatic.
All I'm saying is I understand just from a fan perspective why you can't just say, well, it was a hiccup. Because they've been dealing with hiccups for 50 years.
Yes. But you're 100%.
At one point, we start saying, like, hey, this isn't working anymore?
I don't begrudge fans for being upset. I really don't. The only people I fight with are the agitators who are intentionally doing it, right? They intentionally agitate.
That's why I would say to you, stop engaging.
No.
They're trying to get it out of you.
No. Because what happens is that they will, and this is why I fight back with the Derek Dunns of the world. Okay. Because what they do is they try to belittle the work that people like me do, and people like the writers who are with this team every day and travel with them all across the country, right, and are covering the team. They try to belittle the work. They make pretend that we don't ask the right questions, that we don't, hold them accountable, when we do. But there is a process to it, right? It's not like you come in, and that's why I tell them, come down here and prove us wrong. Come down here and start screaming at people in press conferences and see if that works, right? Because it doesn't, all right? It doesn't work, all right? So that's why I fight back against that, because those people are intentionally trying to piss off fans. They're not real fans.
What are we talking about?
Okay. Well, no. We are, but we're not. So the whole thing is that we're trying to talk about where the Flyers are. Obviously this is good. This is kind of a disappointment this season.
Yeah, it's turned into one.
Turned into one, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't. You can't justify having. You have to reset. And what I was arguing is you have to reset every time that there's a new coach, a new manager, a new GM, a new president. Even if you've had 50 years of frustration, you got to have a reset at that time.
Yeah.
Right? And so what I'm saying is there needed to be a little bit of a runway because this group inherited a mess.
Yeah.
You had to give them a little bit of a runway. I feel like we are now at the end of that runway, and going forward, they have to fix it, right?
Yes,
You
I
cannot
agree.
sit there and keep saying, oh, next year, oh, well, they've only been out of it. It'll be year 4 by next year.
Yeah, and that's with this new group.
With
That's
this
not
group.
accounting for the previous
Right, but
stuff.
I'm saying
yeah.
for this group,
Yeah.
it'll be going into year 4.
Yeah.
So to me, you're at the end of the runway of the grace period.
Yeah.
Now it's going forward. It's time to prove something, right?
Yeah.
And so all I'm arguing back is that you can't, at the first sign of a regime's disappointment, just blow it back up again.
Right.
That's like I said, that turns you into the Buffalo Sabres.
That's what Buffalo did for 15 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't just
Yeah.
blow it at the first sign. Oh, we screwed up. All right, blow it up again.
Yeah.
You can't. And that's why I'm saying you can't trade Travis Konechny right now. You can't.
You can. You can. I mean, I have to disagree, Ann. If he was pretty obvious the other night that he's very frustrated here. And you can say what you want about him, but if he comes to you and you're Danny Briere and you go up to him and ask him, would you like a change of scenery?
Well, that's different.
We can facilitate a trade for you right now.
That's different. If he's requesting that, then you're talking it's a whole different conversation.
But we're also not talking about Wayne Gretzky here either.
No, we're not. But what I'm saying is that if you're the Flyers management, right, and you look at a player like Konechny and you say, we think that this was a step back this year, unfortunately, but we still think that he's part of what we want to do going forward. And Konechny's bought in, and he wants to be here and stay here. But then you don't trade him now because he's got 4 years left on his deal or whatever it is.
He's got more than that,
5,
I think, doesn't he? Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever he's got left.
I don't know how many years he's got left on his contract.
I think Amadeo said it was 4.
4. I think it's 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's 4. So I guess I'm saying, but if Konechny wants to leave, then we're having a whole different conversation.
Well,
that's a different conversation entirely.
Right. I mean, it's very frustrating because you could see it in his voice the other night and in his face on TV.
Yeah, he's tired of losing. There's no question.
Right.
There's no question. But I mean, so that depends on that. That's a whole different conversation. I'm just saying, if you're looking at it from a management perspective and you think that guy is part of what's going to make this team successful, you don't move him now.
Yeah.
That's all.
We unfortunately probably don't have time for your 3 keys.
I can do them. I can do them really quick.
All right, go
I'm going to read them out really quick. First one tonight, the back door. Big Flyers need to avoid the weak side backdoor opportunities. They're killing them.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Number 2 tonight, LA struggles when they get down early in hockey games like they did against Buffalo when they fell down 2-0. Getting a lead and playing with it will go a long way towards a win here tonight. And finally, goaltending. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
The Flyers goaltenders need to be better than they've been. Give the team a chance. Pick the team up, put them on their shoulders, and sail them off to a victory today.
All right. I'm going to do the same thing I did last year at one point. I'm picking the Flyers until they win. 4-2 Flyers.
That's what my pick was, 4-2 Flyers.
3-2 Flyers.
All right. And Russ never texted me back, so he's just a question mark for right now. Be back.
You know what?
No, he'll take the Kings now.
Put 9-1 Kings for Russ.
Yeah, that's what Russ will do now.
9-1 Kings.
He'll cheat again, do no research.
We're picking for him, 9-1 Kings.
Because really, it's a no-brainer.
All right. We'll be back for first intermission. Please pray for us. Flyers need a win. All right, we are back in to the Press Row Show, number one rated pregame, intermission, postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the sort of north of the equator, west of Chad. Showing up late, leaving early. The Anthony SanFilippo story. No, I'm kidding.
Did he make it on time for the pregame?
No, I did the first 10 minutes myself. You didn't know about this?
No, you did a solo act?
I did, yeah.
Good for you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Great job, kid.
It wasn't pretty. Anthony's fishing for some information, so hopefully he has something new to report when he comes back. Who knows? I prayed for a good start. Prayers weren't answered. Kings 2-0 lead very, very early into this game. Actually, was 3 briefly. Flyers fortunately caught Kings offside, so that at least stopped the bleeding. But right now, it doesn't look like it's gotten much better. 2-0 Kings going into the second period.
Kings came out and played a perfect road start to this game. They got pucks in deep. They battled for loose pucks down in the offensive zone. The Flyers, on the first goal, there was a loose puck in front. Adrian Kempe scored both goals.
He's got 2.
For L.A. First one was a scramble in front. Nobody could find the puck until Kempe finally found it and went short side on Vladar. And then the second one, Corey Perry went in, did a stop and back, and found another the loose change again to Adrian Kempe, who was streaking into the zone late. He buried a one-timer past Vladar. And then on that goal that got disallowed, that was another play. It ended up as a big 2-on-1. It was offside at the blue line, but that was Kuzmenko that made it 3-0. Unfortunately for the Flyers, as you said, that goal didn't count. Disallowed for offside. And so here we are in another game the Flyers have to chase and try to come back in.
So Vladar, to his credit, ended up, I thought, settling in. He finished that first period, I think, 8 for 10, right? The goal not counting, I'm wondering just from a goalie mental perspective, does that even matter that it didn't count?
Yeah, it does.
Because he still saw it go by him, though.
Yeah, because you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, well, it's 3-0, and then you get that goal back and you're still sitting on 2, so it's not as bad. You give up that that third goal counts. It's very deflating for everybody, the team, and the players alone. There's our super fan, Eric, the concerned fan, to say the least.
Do you think if the goal counted, he would have been pulled?
I don't know. I would have certainly thought about it.
I was looking at Kolosov the whole time.
Yeah, I was too, to see if they gave him the goal.
We weren't even 10 minutes into the period, were we? I don't think it was even half over.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, but credit to the Flyers for catching it at least. So it stays 2-0. So the penalty kill goes 2 for 2, but I told Anthony that the Kings' power play is 0.5% better than the Flyers' power play is. The Kings are 28th in power play percentage, and then the they did that at least. Couturier, I think, won a couple of face-offs.
Couturier had a good job on the draws that period. I don't know the overall, but the ones that were critical, he ended up winning those draws, especially when the Flyers were shorthanded. Good thing is the Flyers have a minute and maybe 13 seconds, I think, of power play time coming out of the gates in the second period. So we'll see if they can do anything to get back in the game. It's only 2-0. 3-0 would have been devastating, I find.
Yeah. So starting the period, though, it's never really, statistically, it's never really a good thing when your power play is split in half by an intermission. But do you still think that even if they don't convert on the power play to start the period, that they can still get some momentum, with some early scoring chances on the power? What do they have? A minute and 17 left on it?
Something like that. Yeah. Minute 15, call it. So, they need to get some opportunities and get a goal here. This would be critical to get a goal right now.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to. They're going to have to find a way. I wanted them to play with the lead tonight because LA does not do well when they give up the first goal. And that's
out the window.
That's out the window now. So, they have a lead after one period. So I'm sure their numbers are good for that.
Yeah, I'll have to look and find it. The other thing, maybe this was more of a pregame conversation, but I'll mention it now. We talked about how good Konechny's been of late, and the thing with generally in sports is you need your best players to be your best players, especially when you're struggling. This is the last day of January. This has by far been Trevor Zegras' quietest month.
Only
4 goals and 3 assists the entire month of January.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a goal in the last 5 games, I think, for the Flyers. Doesn't even have a point in the last 4 games. It's a situation now where it feels like it'd be nice if he and Konechny got going at the same time. Hasn't really happened yet as much this season, and he's been really, really surprisingly quiet, I thought.
Who's surprising? Zegras?
Zegras, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to see a dip, and when the Flyers kind of went south, he went south too, and that's really what kind of, I think, a little bit came with the goaltending discombobulated the lineup, and that's where they fell into this 2-8-2 swing that they're in right now.
Yeah,
where they're in, they've fallen in on real hard times. So it's going to be important that they figure something out here quick because they're running out of runway to gather points and try to stay in this fight, and it may already be too late.
That's what I was. So the thing that I said to Anthony pregame before you got here was how we harped on the fact. Remember how busy we were the first half of the season because the Flyers had so many home games here, and now coming out of the Olympic break, once they do, it's going to be a lot of road games, which I think makes it all of the harder on them. I would have to imagine playing on the road must be so much harder than playing at home when you're traveling.
Well, it's difficult because the other team gets the last change, so you're always getting the good matchup that they want on home ice that you're not getting that you have in your own home ice. So, I mean, that makes it very, very difficult. But I think the Flyers need to focus on one game at a time. They have 3 in a row at home here coming up. They play Washington on Tuesday,
Ottawa, right?
Thursday against Ottawa.
Yeah.
But they realistically probably need 5 out of the 6 points available to them in the set.
Yeah, I guess. But we'll see. There's still 40 minutes left in this game. I don't know. Did anyone else stand? Is there anyone else that you wanted to talk about in that period?
I thought the Mishkov, Brink, and Zegras line had some opportunities out there. Some good plays out in front early in the game. They almost had converted with Mishkov in front of the net. But nothing really. Nothing else sticks out at me tonight. The Flyers' penalty kill's been pretty good so far. They've done a good job getting that killed because, the LA had 2 power plays until the Flyers finally got their last one inside the last minute. So something to build on for the second period, but the Flyers need to find a way to get back in this game quick.
One of your keys, I remember, was the Flyers defensively had been giving up a lot of backdoor opportunities.
Yes.
Do you think they did at least better with that in the period?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, they still got to account for Kempe coming out for that one-timer on the second goal. But in terms of those backdoor plays where the weak side guy is standing there wide open, sitting on a one-timer or an open shot, those chances did not happen that period for LA. So the Flyers cleaned that area up a little bit.
All right, I was saying maybe if we could wait for Anthony before I give my stat, but I guess
who knows how long he's going to be.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, I'll give it now. So I don't know if you've been following this at all, but the NHL set a record, most amount of hat tricks in a single calendar month.
31, right?
It's the 31 right now, and Kempe has the 2 already.
Yeah.
So
last day of January, right?
Yes, today. Yeah. I think there's like 12 or 13 games today too, so there's a good chance of it happening. Like I said, Kempe already has. He's already got 2 today. So Tippett and Konechny obviously both contributed to that. So that's a new record. In addition to that, there was only 1 game yesterday, and Charlie Coyle still had a hat trick. So that 9 days in a row now that there's been a hat trick somewhere in the NHL, which is now tied for a record.
That's a record, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Tied.
So it happened once in 2021, and it happened once in 1988. There were 9 days in a row that there was a hat trick in the NHL. But by the way, during that streak in 1988, Brian Propp had a hat trick, which contributed to that. That was a 7-6 win against the Minnesota North Stars. Want to go back and check me on that one? So take that, Anthony, for saying that my stats aren't ancillary enough. But yeah, so then if Kempe or if somebody else gets a hat trick today, then that would be 10. That would be a new NHL record for hat tricks. Do you think that it's just harder to play goalie now than it used to be?
I think it's hard to play goalie no matter what area you played in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, you think back into the 40s and 50s, goalies had no masks on. I mean, that had to be something. Playing alone without a mask on itself was probably something.
Yeah.
Guys didn't have the sticks that they have now. But, yeah, I think with the new equipment and the new technology, I think that it is a difficult chore to play goaltender in the National Hockey League and be really good at it on a regular basis.
D Flyers 100. The next Winter Classic will be in Saudi Arabia. Watch. That would be something.
What's that?
D Flyers 100 is predicting the next Winter Classic will be in Saudi Arabia.
Well, could be.
Did you see the Stars and Golden Knights are playing at Jerry World in 2027?
No, I didn't see that. They're playing where?
Jerry World in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the Royal Rumble today is in Saudi Arabia. Did you know that?
I did know that.
I think that's the theory as to why Russ isn't here, because what time is it? It's 1:30, so it starts in a half hour.
That's why he's not here. He's watching wrestling.
I think he's using his son as an excuse.
He is.
He definitely is. And Penn State's down 1-0 at Beaver Stadium right now, because of course they are. I'm trying to see if there were any comments we should... No,
you want to give us your stat of the night? Because I don't know if Anthony's going to make it back in time.
I just did.
Oh, that was your stat of the night.
You want another?
You have another one?
I mentioned to Anthony, because Anthony's writing for the AP today, that Andrei Kopitar's at 1,299 career points coming into tonight.
Is that right?
Today. Yeah, so he'll be at 1,300. He's also getting very, very close to breaking Marcel Dion's Kings franchise record as well. I think he's only like 8 points behind him.
8 points.
So in all likelihood, if he stays healthy, he'll probably end up breaking that. Well, all right. I was going to save this for second intermission, but I guess I might as well do it because you're leaving early, right?
I am.
So I want to make sure I have you here for this.
Yeah.
So not Flyers related, but very, very huge news in hockey, I would say.
Yep.
Is Patrick Kane breaking Mike Modano's record.
Yep.
So I know, just blindly reading the stats doesn't necessarily just tell you the entire story. So I wanted to ask you in your hockey opinion, because you played against Modano, I'm sure, a bunch of times. And then
I played with him, too.
He was your captain.
Yep.
Is Patrick Kane legitimately the greatest American hockey player of all time now?
Well, his points would say so.
That's what I'm saying.
Is he the best? I mean, he's got 3 Stanley Cups. He was a top player on those teams that were winning Stanley Cups. So I think it's pretty fair to say that he would be now the top American-born player of all time. I played with Mike Modano. He was a wonderful hockey player, an unbelievable player. I mean, if you ask me who's better, I can't tell you who's better. I think they're both kind of equals in terms of their ability. Patrick Kane's has more points, but that doesn't necessarily make you a better player. I consider those guys both equals. And phenomenal players, both of them.
Do you think that Kane probably, and maybe this isn't really a fair debate, or not a fair debate, but a fair criticism, but do you think Kane had a better supporting cast with him in Chicago than Modano did in Dallas? Because I really don't know much about those Stars teams for the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago was loaded, right? They won 3 cups in, 5 years? Something like that? Was it 4 years? 5 years? 6 years?
Yeah, it was 10, 15, and 13. So,
right.
Yeah.
5 years. So, that they had a lot of equipment there, a lot of really good pieces on that team that got them over the hump. Dallas had a loaded team too. They just weren't able to string together the amount of cups that Chicago was able to do. So you've got to tip your hat to Chicago again in terms of being a better, the winninger franchise.
Yeah, I mean
during both their peaks.
Definitely, yeah. But, those Chicago teams were loaded with Taves, Sharp. I'm saying outside
Duncan
of Kane,
Keith,
Taves,
Seabrook.
I think Hjalmarsson was really good.
Yeah.
Another guy that I think actually doesn't really get talked about as nearly as much as he should is Pavelski.
Yeah,
he just retired a couple years ago. He has the most playoff goals of any American player.
He's not in those guys' conversation, though. He's not with Modano and Kane.
No, but he's
not.
Like 5th or 6th.
Yeah, but there's a big drop off from those guys.
So Chelios is up there.
Chelios is right there for sure.
JR.
Yeah, JR, great player.
So Pavelski 6th then, do you think?
Maybe you have Pat LaFontaine too. That was back in the 80s. He was a hell of a player. Put up a ton of points. Yeah, I mean, there's I call Pavelski a star, not a superstar.
Okay.
Modano and Kane are superstars. So I think there's a difference between the two of them in that aura. I think those two guys just separate themselves from the rest of the American-born players.
Do you think there's any chance that Patrick Kane plays the last year of his career with the Sabres, going back to Buffalo?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Hometown, right? I mean, they're getting better, so it would make sense if he wanted to do a year there.
This will be the first time in 20 years that they're actually going to buy at the deadline, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Panarin's name linked to the Sabres. I think they may try to make a run at him. That'll be interesting. It would be interesting to see a Red Wings Sabres first round playoff.
Yeah, that would be a great
That would
series.
be interesting.
Yeah.
Both teams, they may have the 2 longest playoff droughts in the league. The Sabres definitely do. The Red Wings, I think, is 9 or 10 years now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't
Something
realize
like that. Yeah, because remember, for a long time, they went 25 years without ever missing, and now they haven't made it in 9.
Anthony's back. We'll see if he's any good scoops, Ant?
Yeah, no, nothing great.
Nothing great?
Oh,
No,
okay.
okay.
Nothing great. Maybe something to talk about during second intermission, but nothing.
Okay.
It's not anything that I'm not teasing anything exciting.
Right.
When was the last time the Red Wings made the playoffs?
It's been a bit. It's not the longest drought, right? I think Buffalo's the longest drought.
Yeah.
But it's been a bit.
Yeah.
Were they in during the bubble?
I don't know that they were. If they were, then they lost in that play-in round. But I don't think they were. I was talking because Bundy and I were talking how Kane broke Modano's record. So I was bringing up the idea of him maybe playing 1 season in Buffalo because that's where he's from. And then I also said there's a possibility that the Sabres and Red Wings actually play each other in the first round this year. I was saying I think those 2 teams have the longest droughts in the entire league. I think they would, right?
Yes. Buffalo is definitely the longest.
Yes. In all of sports, actually.
Yeah, Detroit might be the second longest.
I think it is.
In the NHL.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, what'd you guys talk about? What did I miss? Anything
Our
fun?
feelings.
Talking about the game, the period, some of the things that went right, some of the things that went wrong. We're talking about the best born American-born players. And I said that Kane and Madonna are on a different level than a lot of the rest of them.
Yeah.
You know, he suggested Pavelski's there. I said Pavelski's a star. Those other two guys are superstars.
Yes. I mean, and look, you got to remember the guys who paved the way for them too. Right. Like, I mean, you know, your Ronix and your Leclercs and LaFontaine and
I said Chelios as well.
Does Brett Hull count?
Yeah.
I mean, Hull.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, those guys all paved the way.
Keith Kachuk.
Yeah. Keith Kachuk in a different way, but yes.
But his offspring's doing really well.
Yes, they are. So, that's they are on another level, and it was nice to see Kane pass Madonna. That was a nice moment for him in Detroit.
Yeah,
because he's kind of had a bounce back there, right? Like he was kind of playing out the string for a little bit, and I think he's had a nice little bounce back this year.
But he had an okay postseason with the Rangers that one year.
Yeah.
He had a good series. I think they lost in the first round in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I think he played okay there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's turned back the clocks at least a couple of years in Detroit.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Bundy, since you're leaving early, how important are the first 5 minutes of the second period?
Really big because they have that power play time we're talking about. So if they can connect on here, they're right back in the hockey game again. So I think getting an early power play goal in the second period should be the standard for this team. Really come out and execute.
All right. Well, we'll be back for the second intermission. I have trivia prepared. The Flyers have got to show us signs of life in some capacity. They need it. They need it big time. But thank you, everybody, for watching. The Players.
Hey, Bundy, have a safe trip.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who are they playing today, by the way?
Playing 4 o'clock today.
Yeah.
No, who are they playing? I said
Navy.
No,
Navy.
Okay.
Loyola against Navy. Or versus Navy.
Yeah, have a safe trip, and we'll see you tomorrow at the carnival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
That'll be
guys.
fun.
Good stuff.
I'll be the guy soaking wet. All right. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Welcome back into the Press Row Show, the number one rated pregame intermission postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the north of the equator, west of Chad. Improvement.
It was, first of all, weird ending to the period. Like, I don't know how that's not a tripping penalty at the end. Like, it should have been a tripping penalty. But then I could have sworn, and maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn I heard them blow a whistle. And the clock just kept going, and then the period was over. It was like, I'm sitting there saying to myself, A, it should have been a penalty. If it wasn't, they blew the whistle, so you should have a face-off in the zone. Even if it's only with 3 or 4 seconds left, that's still enough time to run a play if you win the draw, right? I mean, it was just weird. And then, like, some players went right off. Some players were lingering because they thought it was going to be the end. And then the referees finally decided to just say, screw it, it's over, period's over. So, weird. Nevertheless, better period for the Flyers. You're right.
I have a couple of things to add. I have to readjust the camera, though, because it's not focused on us. And I get 10 minutes by myself, so you can do a one.
Yeah, all right, I'll talk. Go ahead. Go fix the camera. Go do what you got to do. It's an odd day today. I was late, which never happens. Russ is not here because fourth host Nancy forgot that there was a 12:30 game and scheduled Russ's son's birthday party today. Bundy had to leave early to go to his daughter's game. So Andrew has been doing yeoman's work and basically doing his job plus our job. I was off doing having a conversation during the first intermission, so like it was just been kind of crazy all day today. So it's a little bit of running around, but we're doing our best, making do. Better period though, Andrew. Obviously, they get the power play goal. It was a nice play to set up Zegras. Brink with a nice pass to Zegras to get the goal, his 20th of the season. And they did seem to have a little more pep in their step, a little bit more pressure. They did a nice job. What I thought the most impressive thing in the period was really limiting LA chances. I know there was that one shot that they had. Vildar had to come up with the breakaway save, and then there was the one that.
So it was right after the Kings killed the penalty.
Yes,
and
Ceci
came out of the box on the breakaway, and then it was Hellenius that was in front on the doorstep all by himself.
Right, that one. But other than those were the only two, and Vildar was equal to the task, which was great. But then, I mean, they did a nice job. Other than that, like defensively, 5-on-5, I thought that they did a nice. They were more in control that period, and that's a small positive. You're still down 2-1, but you look at that, you have to find the small positives, right, when you're trying to get out of it.
Penalty kill 2 for 2. Needed it.
Penalty kill's been good. Actually, it's 3 for 3, isn't it?
Is it 3 for 3 now?
I think it's 3. Okay. I think they've killed 3.
And then the funny thing is, while you were absent for the first intermission, I said to Bundy, I didn't say his worst month. I said his quietest month because I thought worst made it sound a little bit too harsh given how good he's been in total this year. But I said Zegras, January has been his quietest month.
Yes.
39 seconds into the period, he gets a goal. It's his first goal in over a week.
He needed it because he's a guy that I think is one. You know, when you look at this team and you look at what's been going on in the last 12 games where things have really, the wheels have come off a bit. How you respond to adversity is more important than anything else. And, you learn more from adversity than you do from how you play when you're winning and how you respond to it. And Trevor Zegras was not responding well to adversity for a bit. I felt that there were a couple of games in there where he was noticeably turning the puck over more, trying to do things that he never should try to do, make passes he shouldn't try to make. And to me, I think that that's something that where you feel the pressure and you're trying to respond to it and not doing the right thing. So it was good for him to get a goal like that because maybe that kind of like he could breathe now. Like, all right, I got the goal. It was a power play goal too, which all right, that's the power play needs it, right?
That's true too. I didn't think of that.
More like the whole group needs that. And maybe now he can get back to playing the way he needs to play. So I agree. It was a big goal for him.
The other thing I did mention to Bundy was the Flyers catching that third Kings goal.
Yeah.
Noticing that it was offside, I think drastically changed the momentum in this game.
Certainly.
Because Vildar has been fantastic since then.
Yes.
I think the Flyers just as a whole, it feels like most of the momentum has been all Flyers since then. I think they've actually been playing them for the last probably 28 minutes.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that. They certainly have been. There still needs to be more, right? I mean, yeah, they got 10 shots that period. That's great, and that's
16 to 14 now.
Yeah, and that's what you kind of want. But they still need to finish, right? So getting the shots are good. There was even a play on the fourth line. I pointed it out to you, like there was a tip drill there with Garnet Hathaway.
Yes.
It didn't count as a shot because his deflection went over the net.
It was a good chance, though.
But it was a good. He was in the right spot. He was doing the right thing. Like you got to look for those little things, right? Because you got to build off of those. Without that, you're going to be lost forever, right? So you gotta go in there in between periods and say, hey, we could take some stuff out of that period. That was good. Now if we just find one more level in the final 20 minutes, we can pull out a victory here.
Yeah, and the other thing that we saw was it looked like Barkey blocked a shot with his knee. He looked a little bit gimpy, went over to the bench, but I think he's okay. He stayed on the bench.
He did. Right. He actually came out and took a shift after that too. He did have one shift afterwards. It looked painful at first, but as Bundy always talks about, like you get hit with a puck on a shot, you feel it for like 4 or 5 minutes, and it's debilitating. But that once you sit there, and you go out and skate the next shift, and it clears up. And it looked like that was one of those. So it looks like he's going to be okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going to change the subject, but go ahead.
One thing on the box score that has stuck out to me, though, because like I said, it feels like the Flyers do have momentum. They are outplaying the Kings.
Yeah.
The Kings have 2 takeaways in this game. The Flyers have 12 giveaways. That to me screams that it's not the Kings that are beating you. It's
you're beating you, and that's you're not wrong.
That
with
is a huge discrepancy.
You're not wrong with that. I mean, sometimes look, some of those giveaways, takeaways are subjective. I mean, it's each arena's stat crew, which is a local stat crew, right? I mean, they are NHL stats people, but they are from here, and it's their perspective on it. Like they look at the play and go, "Oh, that was a giveaway. Oh, that was a takeaway."
So that's not a pro Flyer stat.
No. But I'm saying like you still have to think of it from the perspective of it's just a guy who's watching the game, like you and I are, and his sole responsibility is to determine whether that was a giveaway or a takeaway. And some of them are hard to identify. But you're not wrong, because part of the problem has been with this team is that they are turning the puck over too many times with unforced mistakes. It's one thing if you're being pressured into making a mistake, but I think that there are way too many unforced mistakes by the Flyers, and tonight you've had a bunch of those. And so I would sit there and say, it's 12-2, even if it's not, even if it's 9-4 or whatever. Let's just say it's still too many. You can't have that many giveaways in a game.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good note by you, because that's something that they definitely need to clean up. One of the things I think that they've done a better job cleaning up in this game is protecting the weak side of the goal. Now,
Bundy said that first intermission.
Yeah, having a guy like Vladar makes it a little bit easier.
Yes. Bigger
body, he gets over to the post to post a little faster. But there have been plays that the Kings have tried to make across east-west across the ice, and the Flyers have broken them up. So they've had more sticks in lanes. They've been more cognizant of the back door. So it was noticeable a little bit in the first period. I noticed it even more in the second. So really, you could tell that they've addressed that, and they're trying to rectify that. So that's a positive as well. The thing I wanted to do to change the subject is I was just wondering, how are things going in Hockey Valley?
2-1 Michigan State right now.
Oh.
Martone's got 2 apples.
2 assists for Martone. And so last night Martone had 2 goals and an assist, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so
it was 6-3. Michigan State had 2 empty netters.
Yeah. So they walloped your boys yesterday, and now they're outdoors at the
Beef.
At the Beef. And it's 2-1 Michigan State.
So Penn State, coming into this weekend, was on a 7-game winning streak. It's just Michigan State that has their number this year. It really is. They swept Wisconsin on the road.
Michigan's pretty good too, huh?
Michigan's really. They played one series. I think they split with Michigan at home. They got to go to Yost at some point later this season. But they swept Wisconsin at Kohl Center. They swept Minnesota and they swept Notre Dame, but neither of those 2 teams are really good. But Michigan State's just been killing them this year. Penn State's got to turn it around for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I can promise you, they will never say this out loud, but I can promise you the Flyers, the brass, is privately rooting against Michigan State once the tournament starts. I think they want to get. I think they want to get Martone here ASAP.
I would agree with that.
So
I would agree with that.
Whoever Michigan State ends up drawing in the first round of the tournament, I can guarantee you the Flyers are the biggest fans of whatever that school is.
Hey, Michigan State choked in the first round last year.
Yeah,
Blew that game against Cornell.
yeah.
But all right, so before we do trivia, there's one other thing that I wanted to mention that I think would actually help the Flyers power play drastically, and I miss the Wayne Simmons days where they had a really, really big net front presence.
Speaking of Wayne Simmons,
yeah, okay, yeah,
he'll be joining us on the show on the Carnival tomorrow.
He sure will. He sure will.
One of several guests. But go ahead.
Net front presence that's hard to push out of the way, screening the goalie. Remember, that's what they tried to get with Nolan Patrick. It wasn't really quite the same. Just from reading his stature, meaning his height and weight, and I thought he impressed a lot of people at juniors. We haven't talked about him a bunch, and he's only 19 years old. I kind of think Jack Berglund might be a guy. He's 51st overall, so he's not the first-round talent, so he doesn't get the buzz that, like, the Martone or the Luchenko get. Is he – like, he's probably still a few years away, if at all, but, like, is there, like, optimism from within the Flyers that he could be that kind of person for this power play?
Yeah, well, there's optimism that he's going to be a legit NHL player. Whether he fills that role or not, I think remains to be seen. I mean, you gotta kind of think, especially with guys who've been drafted. Unless you're drafted in the top couple, development is a little bit longer. So where Jack Berglund was drafted, you're probably thinking, it's 3 years from the time he's drafted before he can even potentially help you out at the NHL level. But he's having a really nice season, and I think that, obviously he had a great World Junior, and he continues to play well. I think that there's a belief that he – and I asked because there have been some scouts that I've talked to who think that he's better. He might ultimately be a winger and not a center. I asked some people in the Flyers organization, and they say, "Oh no, we view him as a center. We think we think he sticks as a center."
I think if you weigh it based on expectation, he had a better junior than Martone did. But Martone statistically, I think, was better. But again, if you weigh it based on expectation, I thought he exceeded expectation. Martone was like as expected. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, when you go into that tournament, you expect the guys who are, the highest picks to be the ones who shine the brightest. And Berglund obviously being a second rounder or whatever, but he was captain of that team.
Yeah,
so Sweden knew a little bit of something.
And he was doing what I want him to do here. He parked himself in front of the net and was tipping in goals.
Yeah.
I want this team doesn't have that on the power play. They really don't.
They don't have guys that get to the middle, but they also don't get shots to the net either. That's another problem. So it's a twofold thing. But I think Berglund's I think that he's got a bright future. Penn State scored. Look at you. You're all fired up. Penn State scored. 2-2. Apparently Gavin McKenna scored it.
Love that.
Yeah.
I might have to move the iPad to this side of the laptop next time so I can actually see it and look at you at the same time.
There you go.
All right. You want to do trivia?
Do trivia, yeah.
Right.
It's going to suck for me because I'm by myself tonight. Not that Russ is ever any help, but Bundy is always
here's the thing.
The guy.
You might do well here.
Okay.
Because for this last 3-game homestand, rather than doing the traditional Flyers versus Kings, Flyers versus Capitals, et cetera trivia,
okay,
I have 3 Olympic questions prepared as we go into the Olympic break.
All right.
So you told me that you watched that new documentary, right?
Yes.
About the 1980 team?
Yes.
It was good.
Very good. It's very good.
Should I watch it when I go home today?
Yes, and the reason I said, here's why I'll tell you it's worth watching. I know everybody knows the story, and I was kind of like a little bit like, all right, what new can I learn from this? I know this story. I've seen the movie. Like, what can I learn from this? What it really does a nice job of, and I mean, there's some new stuff. There's new footage. There's new behind-the-scenes things that are really kind of cool, new interviews. But what it really does is it really takes you to these players growing up, where they came from, their families, and what their families meant to them. Like, it's heartwarming, more so about the people and not less about the hockey. The hockey is obviously the thread, but it's really good. I highly recommend it. So, Yeah.
Anyways, so trivia question number 1 of the 3. Obviously not all 3 today.
Yeah.
On that 1980 United States Olympic team,
Yeah.
which player ended up playing the most amount of games at the NHL level?
Was it
1,099.
Was it Kenny Morrow?
No,
Neil Broughton?
it is Broughton. Yes.
Broughton. All right. They were the 2 that played the most in the NHL. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Ramsey played a lot.
Ramsey was about the 3rd
And
one. Yeah.
I think Mark Johnson had like 700.
Yeah.
Mark Johnson, but since 2002, he still has his job. He's the women's hockey coach at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Broughton was the only other one, and he was not even as big a part of that team. When you go back and look, I mean, Broughton, he was part of it. I mean, obviously, but I mean, he was not one of the key players. Mark Johnson was their best player.
Yeah.
Right.
Broughton 2 goals and an assist
in the whole tournament.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He was not. He was further down their lineup and ended up being the one of the best players on that team that made because his longevity in the NHL.
It is interesting that the way that Disney made that movie, though, that like those guys, like Mark Johnson's barely even in the movie.
I know. Well, it's about the storyline for Eruzione and Jack O'Callahan. Like
Rob
McClanahan. Those are really good stories. And when you learn a little bit more about them, like you get to see OC's dad a lot in this documentary, which is fascinating. Really, you see why he's the kind of kid that he was. Well, he's a 60-something-year-old man now, but why he was the kind of kid he was in 1980. Also, a great story about Janusek. He's the only player in the entire 1980 Olympiad who did not play 1 minute of ice time.
Yeah.
And there was a great story about.
He played for Herb Brooks in college, right?
Yes.
His goal.
He was his national champ, 2-time national championship goalie, and he talks about that too. It was really kind of fun. So that's a good one. And he met his wife at the Olympics. Which is a fascinating story.
All right, I will. I'll watch it when I get home.
Yeah. Really
all right,
good.
20 minutes to go. Flyers. They got to do it. It's now or never because the season is on life support right now. We'll be back for a quick post-game and put a bow on this. We'll talk to you then. All right. We are back into the Press Row Show, the number 1 rated pregame intermission. What, something funny over there?
The way you came in. All right.
Well, I'm trying to match the energy of the people here. So this is a 4-game losing streak now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have that great road trip out west, great game against the Avalanche, and they promptly lose 4 games in a row after that.
Yeah.
At least they got a point this time, I guess. The only thing is, I would say, encouraging in that it actually looked like they had life, and I don't want to say that they deserve to win this game, but they kind of deserve to win it. And
they did. I mean, they deserved a better fate in this game. They were the better team, but that's not, that's not a good enough thing. Like you still have to go out and get the job done. Look, I mean, you're this close, right? I mean, Konechny hits the crossbar on a breakaway in overtime.
Well, it fooled the goal horn guy.
Yeah, well, a lot of people thought it was in.
I'd be curious if the people at home, if they heard that on the broadcast. They actually, for a very, very brief second, sounded the goal horn thinking the Flyers won. He actually just rang it off the pipe. So as it turns out, that was the only time the Flyers possessed the puck in the entire overtime.
It was. And that's what it – I mean, look, it's all about possession, right? Like, 3-on-3, it's all about possession, and they could not get the puck away from the Kings.
No, they just played keep away.
Kings played keep away. And look, I'm not a fan of that, right? I'm not a fan of that in the sport, but it's a legitimate strategy, and the Kings are really good at it. Just hold on to the puck and wait for an opportunity. And it's not like Byfield had like a wide open shot or the Flyers made a defensive mistake. He picked the top corner. It was a hell of a shot, right? I mean, that's the game. The game is all about possession in 3-on-3, and the Flyers never had it other than the Konechny breakaway.
It's the thing. I don't really know what the Flyers are supposed to do about that. Because, they're playing keep away, and they not just keep away, they're taking it out of their own zone and just circling back to center ice and then just doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I wanted to look this up, and I didn't have time before we went back on. I'm curious for people watching at home if they said this on the broadcast. What the Kings' record, 3-on-3 record is this season. I'm curious what it is, because if they do that every time, it's probably I would assume most of their games just go to shootouts then, if that's all they do. So I don't know if they just started doing that, if they've been doing that the whole year. But
I mean, they're not alone.
4-7, Brian Knowlton said.
Yeah, they're not alone in that strategy. A lot of teams employ that, right? They just do. They just don't want. They know possession matters so much, and so it's just going to be like, we're just going to hold on to the puck and keep making line changes, and we'll pull it out of the zone and we'll bring it back, and we're going to keep coming at you until we feel like there's an opportunity that exists. Then you get the puck set up in the zone, and you just make some passes. And in this instance, Byfield got a shot off, and it was a good one. And that's all it comes down to sometimes,
I guess. Was there anything else that you? I think there was. You said Michkov, and was Cates the other one that missed the shift?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was just because they wanted to get Couturier on for the draws. But they really just, it was the one shift Michkov didn't take with Zegras and Brink. Couturier was out there. And then there was another shift where Couturier was on in place of Noah Cates with Tippett and Barkey. But I don't remember it being the draw. Maybe I missed it. Maybe there was a draw and that was the only reason. But Michkov came back out after that and had another shift. I think he might actually have 2 other shifts after that. Whereas I don't think that Noah Cates got back onto the ice. And he's a guy that, if you want to talk about a guy that has struggled for a bit now, Noah Cates is one of those guys.
Do you think it's all stemmed from the Forster injury?
Well, I think that's a big part of it, right? I mean, that line was so good in the first part of the year, and Brink's been inconsistent. He's not been as bad. I mean, obviously he missed time with the concussion, but
yeah. I think he had an assist today, right? Brink.
Yeah, nice assist on the Zegras goal.
Yeah.
He's been a little bit inconsistent, but not as much as Noah Cates. I think Noah Cates has been fighting it for a long time now, and I don't know if they're just trying to. I mean, he still plays well defensively, I guess, and that's why he's still getting the regular shifts he is in the lineup. But he's not. He's really looked lost in the offensive end.
Where do we even go from here?
The Carnival tomorrow.
No, not literally. I just mean figuratively. Just the team.
The team. It is what it is, right? You got your 28 games left, and you're with each loss, you get that much further and further out of it, and that's what it is. And I don't look at this and say, well, now they're stuck in the middle. I don't think that at all, because if this keeps happening, they're going to fall. They're going to fall in the standings. I mean,
well, the Rangers are the only team in the East that has less points. There's a few teams that they're tied with.
There's a bunch of teams out west, though, who are behind them.
I just meant at the East. Though.
Yeah,
it's just the Rangers.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, so like I don't know how much this postgame would even be different than what we did for a half hour in pregame, just because.
Correct. And I will say, you're all excited. Penn State just scored a goal. By the way, those jerseys that look like football jerseys are hysterical. By the way,
well, they're in a football stadium. I think that's why they did it.
I get it. I'm sure that's why they did it. But
I don't think the conversation is going to be any different, at least until the Flyers win a game. Because what else do we even say now? That's why I say, where do we go from here? What do we say that's different than what we said in pregame? They keep losing.
Yeah,
and it's like I made the analogy earlier. It feels like that they're just walking on a treadmill right now, and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean they're certainly struggling mightily. This was of the 4 losses, this was their best game.
Yeah, they got a point to show for it.
For what it's worth,
I thought deserved. They didn't necessarily deserve to win the Blue Jackets game. They should have gotten a point out of that one too. That was a backbreaking goal they gave up at the very end.
Yeah, yes, it was
after the Konechny hat trick.
Yeah. By the way, Konechny was great again today.
He was really good. Maybe he listens to the Russ Joy show, because Russ ripped him the other day.
I think it just goes to show you how much Russ pays attention, right?
No, but I don't. At the time,
you sit here and you watch. You sit here and you watch Russ.
No, I know, but
he's sitting here doing his work for his day job instead of watching the game.
Russ is watching the Royal Rumble right now. Russ, to his credit, I think at the time was right. But that's why I say I think Travis listens to his show, because he's kicked it into a new gear since then.
It's been a lot longer than people realize. Do you know he hasn't gone back-to-back games without a point since November?
Really?
November 29th, I think, was the last, or 20, something like that.
It's
right around Thanksgiving. He was the last time he went back-to-back games without a point.
That's a good stat.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's worth pointing out.
How's your story?
Oh, well, I gotta finish it. That's why I'm trying to wrap post game pretty quick here today.
Yeah. So the only other thing is Michkov, because I see a lot of people complaining about what side of the ice he should be playing on. Have they settled that? Is he going to stay on the right side or left side, or what? Are they going to keep moving him around, or what?
Well, he's on the right side right now because they are playing Zegras at center right now.
Okay.
I think once. If the Zegras at center experiment doesn't last, then you're going to probably see Michkov go back to the left. But look, I mean, watch their line. I mean, you're not seeing a lot of. I mean, it's only 2 games, right? But are you seeing anything that's exciting you with that combination? I think Michkov made one nice play in the first period today, but I don't think it had anything to do with the fact of where he was. He was actually on the left side of the ice, to be honest, when it happened.
Okay.
Where he had that nice backhand, no-look backhand pass to Brink in the slot, and Brink shot it into the goalie. It was a really nice play by Michkov. But it had nothing to do with the fact that he was playing right wing. He was on the left side of the ice. So, I think people make a little bit too much of that, in all honesty.
They make a lot of it.
Yeah, to make too much of it. It makes too much of it.
I see it a lot on Twitter.
Yeah, so you got to remember, it's F1, F2, F3. That's kind of how it works in hockey, right? You could say left, right, center. That's just where you start. That's just where you start. F1, F2, F3 is what the forecheck is. And, yeah, once you're set up in the zone, you might set up more on the right side or more on the left side, whatever.
What if that's really the case? Why do we make such a big deal about getting a 1C then?
Well, you want a player that can play top line minutes, and your F1 should be your center. Your center should be your F1 all the time.
Okay. That's
the guy who's end to end. You go down, you're the first guy in on the forecheck. You're the third man high getting back. There's a lot of more responsibility for that role. The wingers don't have as much responsibility at F2 and F3.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, like I said, it's something that we make too much of. guys prefer certain sides, for shoot and things like that. That's fine. But it's, in the flow of a game, nobody's sitting there going, oh, I'm on the wrong side of the ice. I got to get on the. No, if that's where the play is, that's where the play is.
Okay. I mean, I don't really have anything left on this game. There's plenty more to talk. We have 2 more home games, and we still have a Chickies and Pete's. So there'll be plenty more to talk about in the future.
Yeah. So tomorrow, just so you know, tomorrow we'll be on from the carnival. We'll be broadcasting the carnival. I know it's not on television, so the only place to really watch it is here on Snow the Goalie.
Yeah. Good lineup too.
Really good lineup. We will have a ton of guests. Dan Hilferty, Keith Jones, of course, from the executive side. Wayne Simmons, Rick Tockett, the coach of the team, will be joining us. And then we'll also have some of the broadcasters. JJ and Boosh are going to join us. Who am I missing? Am I missing somebody? I forget. But anyway, we have
Reardon.
Oh yeah, Todd Reardon, assistant coach Todd Reardon is joining us as well. So we have a really good group of people. You're going to be in the dunk tank.
I think I'm in the dunk tank at 12:15 until they tell me I'm allowed to leave.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that. And Russ is going to be walking around, so he'll be doing.
Yeah. So I didn't know this until you told me earlier. What's he doing?
He planned this. Like, he went out and got himself a lav mic, a lavalier. Going to carry it around or pin it on or whatever he's going to do. And he's going to go around from like different stations and kind of get some video of some players, maybe grab a quick quote or two. I'm going to just kind of just chime in when we don't have a guest. So basically, Russ isn't working tomorrow. He's just walking around. Leave it to me and Bundy to do all the work, you to be in the dunk tank.
And then where's Chickies in Wednesday?
Wednesday we're in Marlton. Chickies the first time there. Chickies and Pete's. Marlton.
Oh, that's right. So Bundy's just going to take his motor scooter there.
Yeah, he can take a motor scooter there. It's going to be a little bit of a ride for the rest of us, but that's all right. It's over not too far from. It's like it's about a 5 to 10 minute drive from the Flyers skate center where they practice.
We getting anyone for that or no?
Working on it.
Yeah,
you need some help, team. Need some help. I keep reminding the people who are responsible for this. But
Michigan State just tied it, so we should wrap this up.
Yeah, 4-4.
I got to watch the end of this game.
All right, you do that.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody, for watching. Unfortunately, it didn't really go our way today, but, there's always Tuesday. We're again against the Capitals.
Allison's asking tomorrow. We start at 11 a.m., so we're on from 11 till about 1:45-ish. Our last interview is at 1:30. So tomorrow. So whenever that last interview is over, we're wrapping. But
same place you always find us on the YouTube.
Yep.
So we'll be live for that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Rate, review, subscribe. Good luck to Russ in the Royal Rumble. Good luck to Bundy's daughter, Loyola, playing today.
At Navy.
And we'll be back Tuesday against my arch nemesis, the Washington Capitals.
Till then.
Yeah. This has been the Press Row Show.